Yeah, probably want to see me.
All right, we are live. What's up, Mike? How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well, man. I'm. It's been an eventful few days for me, but we looking right over here right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of. I mean, I was originally going to ask you about how this fight came together and so on and so forth for your next fight, but you said it's been an eventful few days. Does
Yeah,
that
man.
have to do with the fight being canceled? I heard like Dean Barry said it was on your end, so I was just curious. So
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
going?
No, no. Well, no. This is different from fight. I mean, as far as the fight, it was just some issues, some internal issues. Nothing crazy, no injuries or nothing like that. Just visa and passport issues. So we're gonna move the fight here to Vegas. Don't
Mhm.
have a date yet, but outside of that, nothing is changing. I'm still cooking this motherfucker. He get knocked out, and it's just he gets to go get a passport now. I think that's what he's doing, and then he don't get to jump over here to the. I mean, I feel bad for him because I really wouldn't want to come over here right now or whenever.
Yeah.
But he wants to. He wants this opportunity. You know what I mean? And he's gonna get it in Vegas. I'm gonna beat that ass.
Yeah, and as far as opportunity goes, I mean, was it kind of a because something I was wondering about? I mean, after your last fight, you beat the shit out of CM Punk, so that fight happened, and then you had to deal with all that shit from Dan. I mean, he was pretty upset. Have you been getting fight offers this whole time, and like, did you
Yeah,
finally
yeah.
sit out, or would you like put you on the sidelines? What's the deal?
No, actually, so the story people have to people get caught up in the theatrics, right?
Hmm.
And that's all that was. It was like a smoke show, or I shouldn't say smoke show. Smoke shows are good. It was it was like a smoke screen. There we go, a smoke screen.
Yeah.
I was offered a fight on the Argentina card later that year. We accepted the fight. It was a great fight as well. I think it was been a solid matchup, just as this Dean Barry fight is a solid matchup. I
Mhm.
feel, but I had some injuries kind of flare up. Right, like literally, I said yes, and then that same week, like later on that week, I had to let you. Well, the crazy thing was he never got my initial my initial email, and I'm
Mhm.
friends with Mick, and so that week I was actually was we were throwing a party at Mick's house for something I can't remember,
Mhm.
and while I was there, Mick just, hey, Sean said he emailed you. Did you get it? And I was like, yeah, I responded to him, and so I ended up chopping up with him, let him know, because then that was like on a Sunday, and I got hurt like that the day before. And I just let him know. I hit him up. I said, "Hey, Sean, Mick told me, you reached out to him because you didn't get a hold of me." And I forwarded the previous email. I didn't want you to think I was fucking not responding or nothing.
Mhm.
And I told him the situation, and he was like, "Nah, I get it. Rest up, take your time, and then let me know when you're ready." And I'm going out to the UFC events and stuff like that with Derek, and every time I see him, we hang out a little bit. We go to some bars or whatever. And I think we was in Dallas. No, was it Dallas? I think it was San Antonio. Yeah, San Antonio. And we was out. He's like, Mike, what, man, what you doing, man? You're fighting, and I was like, bro, like I told you, I was fighting, bro. I'm coming back. Let me get ready. So I didn't hear anything from him for a while. And then, look, for me, I don't have to fight. I fight
Mhm.
because I love the sport. I love what I do, and this is kind of like the cherry. This is just the cherry on top for me. Like this is just extra shit that I get to do. And so for me, whenever the opportunity rises, and it just so happened that this was just a solid opportunity right here, and so we jumped on it.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned that it's a good opportunity, and you said you don't have to fight. I mean, you're kind of like the media guy. I know you do a lot of photography and shit like that, and so that's kind of like your main game as far as that
I'm a
goes.
person now, dude.
Yeah.
I am an anomaly in this industry.
Mhm.
I started off in 2008, and I started off as an amateur fighter. And for me, it was just I was trying some new shit out, right?
Mhm.
You're a fan of the sport, because I've been watching since like the early days, back when we had like the cable box. Remember the bootleg cable boxes back
Mhm.
in the day with the scrambler joints? I've been watching the MMA since then. Damn, I feel old as I say that though. But watching it since then, become a fan of a sport, and it was kind of one of those things where it's like, yo, I want to try that out. And for really my whole life, I'll be honest with you, a lot of my shit outside of just right place, right time, and it's who I know. Like I've developed some solid bonds and relationships with people throughout the years, and then I'm
Mhm.
just a good person. I'm a good guy. Like so, it's not like people are like, who the fuck is like I don't want him around. Like people want me around. So everything kind of just fell into place. Like I'm doing an amateur fight, and then again, my first amateur fight is for Mick Maynard on his promotion in 2008. It was called Lone Star Beatdown at the time, which later became Legacy Fighting, which later became LFA Fighting. Yeah. So I get in at the ground level, with Mick Maynard, who obviously now he's doing this thing in the UFC as a matchmaker. So I'm developing these relationships and bonds. I'm close with his family. Like I said, I go to party at his house, so that's how close we are. And then I'm just at the right place at the right time. Mick's like, yo, you want to fight in Houston? And it was his first show. He's from Houston. I'm from Houston. I jump on it. And so then I'm building those relationships. And then for me on the combat side, I was doing like these video blogs back in the day. Remember when Dana was doing it? I kind of got the idea from Dana, but I wanted to put my own spin on it, right? I wanted to give people my person and give them the truth, to give them that flavor. And that's really what propelled me into like the outside of fighting. It propelled me into this personality. I don't want to say celebrity, but like a media personality. And it propelled me into that. And yeah, I'm still fighting at the same time, and I'm doing these things. And then again, as I'm growing, the promotions are growing. People are flying me out to different parts of the country to do my blog and all these things. And I'm just rolling. I'm just rolling along. I tell people, because like fighting doesn't have any seasons. It's just always continuous. And I tell people the past 13 years has been one season for me. And it's been a big blur. So I get to go out here and again, get these experiences, meet these people. These promotions are growing, and I'm growing because I'm there with them. I'm with them when they get on Access or HD Net at the time, which comes Access Net or Access TV. And then those stories, like all of these things just propel me into where I'm at now, which gets me into the UFC, which gets me covering fights, which gives me these interviews with, Glover Teixeira, John Jones, Dana White. I get all of these things because of the access. I'm not even trying. All this shit just falls into my lap. UFC fight falls in my lap. CM Punk fight falls in my, well, it fell in my lap because he was talking shit about me. And then I had to work to get that fight. I did like promo videos and all kinds of shit to get it, but it was worth it, So yeah, man, for me, it's just, I'm an anomaly. I have this great position, and I'm cool with it because I get to fight. I get to not fight. I get to take pictures. I get to just go. I like when I go to UFC fights. It's for me, UFC is like summer camp for me. I just go, and I'm obviously I write story, whatever I'm doing there, but I get to have fun, and I get to be enamored in the community that I love so much.
Yeah, and as far as that goes, you said, the fight's falling in your lap. CM Punk one aside. What happened with this Dean Barry fight, man? And because, it's all about opportunity for you. You've had these couple opportunities pop up. Was there something about his game that popped up that made you interested, or was it just
I don't even know if he's told anybody this, but he and I actually set this fight up. His management got my name. I'm assuming, he's a prospect over there in Ireland or whatever. It's cool. Do your thing. So he get my name, and he had seen me up because he's kind of like, yo, what's going on? Are you even fighting anymore? And then we chop it up for a little bit, and we kind of like agree on some, don't do it then. Let's do it then. Oh yeah, that'd be good. Let's do that. So we kind of like set this shit up, and it was, for me, again, like I said, the fight that they offered me in Argentina, that would have been an exciting fight, fan-friendly fight, and just so is with this one. For, again, being who I am in the sport, you don't want to, like, what you want to put me in there with a jiu-jitsu guy for? Like, nobody wants to see that. You want to see me defending submissions, or you want to see me, like, work on, nobody wants to see that shit. So you bring me in for a reason. Then let's maximize, let's capitalize off this, let's monetize it, and let's make the maximum amount of money that we can. So you bring in this kid who's and from his perspective, he's a world champion kickboxer. From my perspective, he's a karate guy who just happens to, he did some high level karate, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel, he has what it takes to beat me. But he does have what it takes to make for an exciting fight and a dangerous fight. It's not going to be easy. I guarantee it's not going to be easy, but it's definitely, I have no doubt in my mind about winning this fight.
Yeah, and there are few easy fights in the UFC. Well, excluding your last one. But Andrew, go ahead. I realize I've been cutting off all the questions. So Andrew, you go ahead.
You know, and you said a lot there. Is there a fight that stuck out to you, like that you're like, I need to do this after that, or like a boxing match, or a particular MMA fight, something back in the day from Pride or Ryzen, anything that sticks out that you were just like, I need to get into this somehow.
From what point? Well, like, what do you mean? Get into it.
Just kind of like for some reason it made you want to go out and like participate in yourself, like start doing boxing, start doing MMA.
Oh, you mean just in general? Like, why did I get into fighting?
Yeah, or a fight that stuck out, or kind of what kind of made you gravitate towards it.
Man, I couldn't even tell you, dude. Like for me, I grew up. The early fights I remember was Tyson fights, but he was killing people back then. And then I gravitated toward Roy Jones, and I was a huge fan of his. I watched a lot of his fights, and I gravitated over to Floyd after that. So that's kind of what fighting has always been like. I've always been a fan of it for whatever reason. I tell my mom to this day, like, I got into fighting because she wouldn't let me do karate as a kid. So I got MMA fell in my lap, and for me, if I'm thinking of like a fighter that stuck out, it's going to be Anderson Silva. I watched him, for a long time, and I was like a Silva stan. Like, and I've never been I'm not the fanboy of any type. Where I'm growing up, I've grown up around celebrities and athletes and all that, and it was just like these dudes are like my neighbors and shit, right? And this is what it is. Even my dad, in his own respect, he was like he's now retired, a police officer out here, but he was like the police officer who's always on camera, and everybody, like, we're out and everybody knows him, right? So I always had this again, don't want to use the word celebrity, but they had this in the limelight, so to speak.
Yeah. So
for me, like, when like the Anderson Silva, like, that was the first time I was like, yo, this is fucking Anderson. That's shit. I'm a fan. That just wasn't me. But it was his style, man. He was it's an art to watch him. And so when I see that, I jumped in MMA. I want to say I was training before then. When did Anderson come into the UFC? What was it? Do you remember?
2006.
Okay, so he came to us. So I'm watching, and like I said, I started 2008 when I jumped into the gym. So I'm watching this dude do his thing, and I'm looking at my body type and what I'm doing, and people kind of like, oh, you got like this kind of kickboxer style or whatever. And I'm seeing this dude who I'm a huge fan of. And so I'm trying some of that shit out, and that's really was like, and I'm trying it out, and I'm just naturally good at it. And then I was like, all right, well, now let's get better. And that's really what it was. It was just, but at the same time, it's like, do I really want to do this? Like, I know I want to do it, but like, how much do I really want to put into it? At what level? I never had any aspirations of going to the UFC, but, maybe we just do this on the legacy level, and like I said, shit just happened. We here.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear how that just kind of worked out and how that happened. And he's definitely one of those guys that everybody kind of mentions. Like, a lot of the guys are kind of like Silva. He is kind of that guy that kind of everybody kind of knows if they know a little bit about the sport.
Right. Yeah, man. And it was crazy because, again, I literally watched all of his UFC fights. I was there when he fought Chris Lee, and I remember that night. And because I remember hearing about him, and I was like, who is this Anderson Silva guy? I saw, early YouTube. I looked him up YouTube. I see like the Michael Jackson Pride walk out and all that shit. And I was like, oh shit, like, this motherfucker's a killer. And then you hear the shit that Joe Rogan is saying. And so you was like, all right, like this, Joe, we know at the time, Joe Rogan knows his fighters. So if he's over here capping or supporting like that, let's go. And then he does what he does. We all see it now. It's history. And I was just like, yo, this is the guy. And then he just rambles. He just rattles through everybody. Goes through Rich Franklin. I remember the James Irwin knockout. That shit was wild. The Forrest Griffin fight. That was one of my favorites. Oh, that was one of my favorites. And the reason it was one of my favorites, just it was the display of the head movement. Like, that, people don't understand. Like, that is not easy. I'm saying it because I have a very similar style when I box as far as the head movement goes. And you have someone who is trying to blast you in the face with a shot. And you just in this little, all of these are separated by inches, man. And that's the beauty, and that's the art of fighting, is those little things. Come in and go out there and just swing and bang or whatever, and that's cool. But when you have someone with that kind of technique, and that kind of skill set, and it's so effortless. That's art, man, and that's really what captivated me about him, and I've been a fan. I don't think I've ever. It was him. I was just a huge fan of him for doing his thing, even to the end. Like I was again, and then I coincidentally later on I'm friends with Ed Soares, who's his manager, right? And I was like, oh, that's just dope. But yeah, and then I just gravitated over to John. I just love John. John's dope, you know. And then people say what they say about John, but I separate. In this instance, I separate the fighter from the personal behavior. Has he done some, crazy shit? Of course he has, but I don't think he's done anything that is reprehensible to the point of just not being a fan of his, because people fuck up, Yeah. And I just think the things that he has going on in his life has put him in that position. And he's a kid, man. He's still learning. So yeah, those are my top guys, and I can't really think of right now. Now, because I'm friends with so many people. All the people at UFC now, I've grew up with almost. So now I'm just fans of everybody that I'm friends with.
That's awesome. I love that. As far as going back to the fight, how long has that been in the making? Has that been just within the last couple of months? Has it been taking a year?
It was past few months. October maybe? No, probably like in October, November-ish, somewhere around there. No, it was October. I'll take it back. It was October, somewhere around there. But before Halloween. But we were just kind of waiting. We messy, like he'll message me, man, you heard anything? Yeah, man, I ain't heard nothing, dog. They taking their time. But I think the issues were really with. They didn't know the location. I think that was the biggest concern because we all found out like that it was going to be on Fight Island when Dana made the announcement. Like that's when I found out it was in Fight Islands. It was when Dana said it on TV. No one said nothing. So I'm just sitting there and he hits me up. Hey, you know anything? I'm like, man, I don't know shit. And then even like the communication is like, hey, we still don't know yet. You got your passport? And I was like, bro, we're trying to get it. We don't know. I was like, but because the first time they offered me, like, oh, it's in Vegas. I was like, cool. And the next email was like, nah, we need your passport. And I was like, wait, it was in Vegas. What I need a passport for? It was like, because it may not be in Vegas. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. So that's kind of just the situation that happened.
Now, would you, and I have kind of I imagine what you're asking me, but would you have rather fought at the Apex or in Abu Dhabi?
Oh, Apex. I never wanted to go to Abu Dhabi.
Really?
So, I'm a different guy. So for me, just the way that I grew up in a privileged background. So things like this is normal for me, right? So when they're just like, hey, why would I want to go to Abu Dhabi during a pandemic? This makes sense. For what? I have a cousin who's over in Dubai right now. He's fuck he's doing out there. I think working for a magazine company or something. Or a marketing company, and he and his brother, we were going out there to visit him this summer, and then like we planned it like in December, January. It was we'll go out there, or this is last year, so before the pandemic. We was like, hey, we're gonna go out to Dubai, go kick it or whatever, and then we was kind of planning that, and then the pandemic hit. Like, oh well, we sitting our asses down, and then they talk about Fight Island and going to Abu Dhabi, and I was like, wait, what? And I just look, and for me, again, because I already have access to these things, it's no big deal for me, right? As opposed to someone who doesn't have the same privileges and access that I do. So the way I'm looking at it, I don't like flying. For me, the longest flight that is doable for me is like I did Houston to the Dominican Republic. I think that was like 6 hours, and that was ass. So a 6 hour flight to me is ass. Like they talk about 16 hours, man. I was like, hell no. Nah. So I'm thinking about it, 16-hour flight. I don't want to do that shit. But Quint, the funny thing about it was that was the biggest thing for me was a flight. And I was chopping up. I'm friends with Pat Berry. So I was just hitting him up one day because we were just chopping up over something. And so he's like, hey, bro, I heard you got the fight in the Fight Island. I was like, yeah. I say, man, I really don't want to fucking go out there, bro. I say, it's a 16-hour flight. And he laughs. And then he say, bro, the flight is the best part. He says you like in a like the little cabin. And he's like, bro, they gonna give you pajamas. Keep the pajamas. And I was like, shit, I'm going to keep these motherfucking pajamas. But so he kind of made it feel, he eased it for me. But still, it's what I'm going to do for 16 hours. I barely sit still as it is. So I'm thinking about well, first, let me rephrase. They're going to fly me to Vegas first to quarantine. And then I think I would have left. Actually, I would have had to be there today. So I had to leave, go to Vegas, quarantine. Then I have to fly, do the trip to Abu Dhabi, quarantine. Then I'm in a bubble. Look, Mike, everybody who knows me knows I love food and I love to eat. And I base all my travels, even fighting. When I fought in Chicago, it was a true food tour in Chicago. We was getting it in. So we was going to do the Abu Dhabi True Food Tour. And then it was like, you in a bubble. I was like, well, shit, that ain't fun. What the hell am I doing in a bubble? And then you leave like right after. So for me, I want to go to Abu Dhabi to enjoy Abu Dhabi. I want to enjoy that Abu Dhabi, the real Abu Dhabi experience, right? Without a pandemic, without a bubble, and without stressing about getting into a fucking fist fight. That's the other thing. I'm going over here and I'm about to get into a fist fight. I got all these stressors. I want to enjoy Abu Dhabi. Have you seen an Abu Dhabi woman? I haven't, but I'm so wanting to. I heard they're beautiful. I don't even know what you call an Abu Dhabi woman. What's the name for Abu Dhabi people? Anybody know?
Abu
I'm not
Dhabi?
sure.
I don't know.
I want to call them like an Abu Dhabi people, but yeah, I'm sure there's some beautiful people over there. So I want to go check out the scene. But yeah, that's not gonna happen now. We're gonna do it in Vegas, and cool. I head to Vegas a lot. I love Vegas now that I have family out there, so I go kick it with them. But I spend a lot of my time over in Red Rock, off away from the Strip because the Strip is trash. And well, I tell you, it's between Red Rock and the PI. I go between the two to spend all my time, and I'm excited, man. I'm really excited to get back to Vegas and show the world the actual talent. I know people and I hate this in MMA is like they say, oh, you're only as good as your last fight, right? But that's not a real thing. Like that's stupid. And for me, like all my fights though, like the golf fight, I come off the couch, the dude watches me, you don't get to see shit. Then in the Punk fight, I realized like the dude can't fight, right? And so it for me, it turns into an exhibition. You gonna get exhibition skills. You're not gonna get fucking real skills for an exhibition for what? Like there was no need for me to go out. Like people wanted me to go out there and like kill this guy. And maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have done that. But I'm a different person now, right? So for me, if I'm in the gym, right, and you know I can spar with anybody. It don't matter if you're day one, UFC champ, whatever. I can spar with you, right? And I'm gonna adjust accordingly. And like if there's a guy who comes in the gym who can't fight, like I'm not gonna just go in here and just beat this dude's ass. He's not gonna learn anything from that, right? So it's kind of the same sentiment. But for this, it was a little different because obviously as a fight, it don't matter. We get paid for it. But the way I looked at it, and I always looked at it, because I told people, I was like, this dude he is not at my level. He's not at anybody close to his level. So I said before I fought Gall, I was like, look, his best scenario is to fight Gall because all he's going to do is take him down to submit him. I said, I'm going to beat this dude's ass. And so when you do it the way I do it, you can't bring him back again. If I go out there and knock this guy out, shit, he just got, and I don't believe in the term lucky punch or lucky shot because if I throw a punch, I want it to land. Like I'm not just throwing a punch just to throw. Like even if I close my eyes and throw a punch, I'm hoping that punch lands, right? So how is that a lucky punch? It just that punch that I wanted to land actually landed. Now, was my eyes closed, was my back turned? Sure, but I still wanted to hit you. So how is it lucky, right? It was unlucky for you because you got hit with a motherfucker whose eyes were closed. That's your bad, not mine. So for me, that was the only thing that really could have happened. Is like this dude just catching me with some dumb shit. But outside of that, like he couldn't beat me. So I'm looking at it where you got this guy who can't beat me, doesn't belong here. He's not trying to be a champion. He's literally trying some shit out. Let me see if I can do this. Well, you can't do it. Let me show you why you can't do it. And so I did that, right? And I sent the guy to the emergency room. People are still talking about, oh, you could knock out a wrestler. I was like, well, one, I didn't want to knock him out. But two, I sent the dude to the emergency room. Like, damn, like, and I didn't even hit him hard. Like, the hardest I hit him, if you remember, it was like in the first round. I hit him with a right hand, and his feet kind of came together, and he kind of like stumbled back. That was the hardest I hit him, and that was like a 50%er. So because I remember when I hit him, like, because I didn't throw it hard, and so when it hit, and he kind of like stumbled back, I was like, oh shit, like this, like I didn't even throw a heater. So if I would have hit this dude, like I don't know if y'all going back to watching any of my boxing or kickboxing matches, all of those are knockout wins. If I would have hit, like there was this one, I fucked this dude, something Douglas. He was a big fucking muscular dude. I was kind of scared. I was like, damn, this dude's big. But I had him on the ropes, right? Because he couldn't fuck with me in boxing. And I hit this dude so hard. I hit him in 10-ounce gloves, by the way. I hit this dude so hard, he stiffened up and just face planted. And this is someone who is a boxer who's trained to take punches to the face. You telling me if I hit this motherfucker with that same punch with these 4-ounce gloves and he has never really been hit before, I could have killed that man in that ring that night. If I would have just turned it up. And that's not what it's about. I was just in there to show him that he didn't belong. Like, I wasn't there to, like, hurt him. I mean, I sent him to the emergency room. I gave him a concussion. Like, isn't that not enough? Like, y'all haven't seen him anymore. Isn't that what the fans wanted? Like, and I told people, I was like, look, when I get y'all not going to see him no more. But then the MMA fans, because they're not MMA fans, they're UFC fans. You know, they talk the shit. But, you know, like I said, the trolls and all that, that means nothing to me. I lose no sleep over these guys. It's funny. Because, like, y'all are wasting all this energy on me. And I'm drinking a Keurig coffee right now, by the way. I'm like, what the fuck I care about y'all for? And your opinions that don't matter. Y'all not fighting. Y'all just talking y'all shit. So, like I said, at the end of the day, and tying it back into Dana White, when he ran his mouth with the smoke screen, I didn't take that shit personally. Like, outside of the first that happened, because I was trying to eat this pizza, and I got all that news as I'm trying to eat the deep dish pizza for the first time, and it fucked my appetite up. But outside, after I went to sleep and woke up, I was cool. Like, I was like, all right, whatever. It meant nothing to me, you know? So, yeah, I don't give a shit about them people, man.
And then I wanted to ask one more thing before I throw it back to Josh. Are we going to see you more in the UFC after this fight? Like, is there like a multi-fight contract going on, or is this like a one-off thing?
I'm still like, man, them motherfuckers cut me on my birthday after the golf fight. I was like, y'all some assholes.
That's tough,
man. Because look, the fight was in January, I think. No, early February. February 8th, I think was the day. Y'all motherfuckers wait almost 2 months to cut me, and then you cut me on the birthday? I was like, y'all are some savages. Jesus. But no, I have 3 fights left on the card. I have a new deal. I got more money than the golf fight anyway. So, so I got 3 fights left, and then we're going to see what happens, you know. But for me, I know you mentioned, like, we're going to see me fight more. Look, if it's a good, like, they're not trying to throw me in there with the dudes with, like, 10, 11 fights. Like, this kid, he has, the guy before they offered me had 4 fights in MMA. This guy has 4 fights. So, I mean, as long as it's a quality matchup, right? And I know where I'm at. You know, I know the effort I put into training. I know what level I'm at as far as skill-wise. Can I compete in the UFC? 100% I can. Am I competing at the top of the level? No, because I'm not putting in that kind of effort to compete with that level because that's just what it is. Like, that's not – I'm me, and I do what I want to do, and I don't want to put that effort in to be a top 15 or whatever. I'm cool where I'm at because I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying the moment.
Of course, and as far as that goes, man, one last question before we go ahead and end this thing off.
I gotta quit. I got shit to do. But I'm just fucking with y'all. Go ahead.
All right, so I asked you last time before your last fight. I don't think you remember. Don't blame me. I was like a fucking 16-year-old at the time.
Hey, we gotta start somewhere, baby.
Exactly. You were one of the first people to give me an interview, so I appreciate that. But so I asked you before your last fight your prediction for the Punk fight. I'm gonna continue that again. What are your predictions for this fight whenever it does happen?
So what did I give you for the Punk fight? I'm just curious.
I believe you gave me a first round knockout. First and second.
Yeah, I would say everybody first round that way. And then so look, the intention was still the same. It was to a first round knockout until he threw that first double jab, and I was like, oh shit, he can't fight. that was a moment when he threw it. And again, it's not. I don't want to come off as if like I'm clowning him in any way because I'm not. Yeah. What I'm saying is that there's just levels to it, and he wasn't at the level that he needed to be to compete with me. That's all I'm saying. And it's not a knock. Like, you can put me compared to whoever the fuck you want to, and it would be the same analogy. But yeah, like, I just realized he couldn't. I was like, man, I can't knock this dude out. I'll feel so bad. But for this one though, because this is not the same. Again, this is we're past the exhibition stage, right? We're going for the kill. We're gonna get the second round knockout. I don't know how yet. I haven't decided yet. I got some cool shit I'm gonna show the world, and I promise you, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome shit, and people gonna have it. They're gonna be like, oh wow, like that was fucking dope and beautiful. Like, also too, it's beautiful because I don't want people to just like, I love Derek. Derek is my guy, but Derek just goes. He brings the thunder. He brings the force, and he just like, that's not me, right? For me, I'm what my coach likes to call it. I'm a finesse fighter. And so you're going to see some finesse. You're going to see some beauty when I knock this kid out in the second round whenever we fight.
Second round, okay. Well, man, I appreciate the time. It was good talking to you.